Çok değerli Ürdün Başbakan Yardımcısı, eski Ürdün Başbakan Yardımcısı Sayın Rima Halef, çok değerli Hazurun, değerli katılımcılar, kıymetli hanımefendiler, beyefendiler. Bugün burada İslam dünyasının en önemli sorunlarından birisi olan Kudüs meselesini, ümmetin derdi olan Filistin meselesini, Filistin halkının meselesini konuşmak için burada bir arada bulunuyoruz dünden beri. Bu çalışmaların umarım
issues in the Islamic world, and we are here for 2 days to talk about different issues related to the question of Jerusalem, and hopefully we hope to see a lot of things that will happen in the coming days. I somehow feel exhausted, so in order to say new things or to take new steps about what we need to do, I believe we need to say a lot of things. For example, what is happening in Palestine and about the crimes that are perpetrated there. We will talk about that, but not just to get emotional about that, but also to move, to take action, and to find new ways to find solutions. For me, maybe to talk about a legal issue that talks about international treaties, how they were developed and passed. I will speak briefly about some of the experiences that I went through that will give some added value to what has been said already, or to fill in the gaps that I have seen in what have been said so far. Of course, the indigenous people of Palestine are suffering for some socioeconomic aspects and political aspects, but nobody talked about the status of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, so I want to talk about this topic as well. In terms of human rights and equality, as you all may know, within the framework of the United Nations, there is a convention on the protection of human rights and implementing that convention. This is a mechanism that we tried to implement that. All the states are obliged to do that. And all the countries wanted to apply the Paris Convention on Human Rights. All the countries wanted to implement it and to safeguard its provisions. But we need to have a solid framework, and we need to have an entity that is affiliated to the government, but it is a kind of non-governmental body. So in Turkey, we have an organization that we have elections every 4 years, and we are doing this. Why am I explaining this to you? Since the establishment of the United Nations until today, a lot of good things have come from the United Nations. Why? In order to be implemented around the world. There are countries that advanced more, but unfortunately in Israel, none of these issues that were issued by the United Nations are implemented there, unfortunately. It is a state that was established under the framework of the United Nations, but it's not committed to human rights. We don't want to have a full separation from Israel, but just to have some implementation of human rights. So the United Nations should put pressure on on Israel to implement those rights that are enshrined in these treaties. In Ramadan, I went to Jerusalem and to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and stayed there for 10 days. There are some legal issues maybe that will be talked about for the first time here. Muslims have a religion, whether others like it or not, because the freedom of religion is enshrined in the instruments of the United Nations. So, Al-Aqsa Mosque is one of the most important and holy places in the Islamic world after Mecca and Medina. So the rewards of praying, for example, in Mecca is 100,000 hasanat that you get. So in Al-Aqsa Mosque you get 500 hasana, or as rewards, heavenly rewards, when you pray there. So it is very important for Muslims. So this is very important. But how can we go there? Can we go to the Al-Aqsa Mosque or not? Let's provoke ourselves more. If we were able to go there, to Jerusalem, okay. Are we going to be allowed to go there or not? At the door of Al-Aqsa Mosque, we see Israeli soldiers who are searching people and bags before you go. It is a worship place, but you can't go there freely. You will be searched and monitored and surveyed. And they don't allow young people to go into the mosque, only old people and sometimes women to get into the mosque. Why women are present there? Because men are not allowed into the mosques, and they allow only a certain age group who can go there, and you need to get a lot of authorization in order to be able to get that. In the Qadr Eve in Ramadan, there were thousands of people outside the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and that was terrifying for the Zionists and the Israel. So I want to invite you all to see you all in Al-Aqsa Mosque. We have seen in the Mavi Marmara ship incident that we wanted to have this as a lesson for the entire world, because the Zionists say that nobody can go to Gaza, but we broke that siege and we were able to go there. We spoke. We spoke in the morning, and that there are a lot of people who went there on that ship from Crimea, from South Africa, from different parts of the world. So it became a similar, it's like a pilgrimage to that area. People in the mosque, in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, people prayed there and relaxed in the sanctuary in the mosque.
Evet. Şimdi şurada baktığımız zaman ben bunu daha sonradan internetten şey yaptım. 1 Haziran günlü şeyde diyor ki, Türkçe'ye çeviriyor, İbranice aslı ama Tapınak Dağı Yahudilere açılacak. Tapınak örgütlerinin merkezi Tapınak Dağı adına polis faaliyetlerini memnuniyetle karşılamakta ve Yahudileri Tapınak Dağı'nın elimize geçmesinin 52. yıl dönümü vesilesiyle dağa tırmanmaya çağırmakta. Halkı çağırıyorlar. Burada şunu da diyor, tapınağın
because the Jews have been in control for 52 years, the Jews will go to these worship places and they will celebrate that. They will celebrate the 52 anniversary of Jew control over these worship places. And they say they are Jewish worship places. And they say that that land is their land, and they are trying to deny anything that is related to the Palestinian identity. In Jerusalem, they're trying to control Jerusalem and the Al-Aqsa Mosque in all forms. We have been there. I wanted to show you some of the pictures. How much time do I have? I have not started yet. I need more. I need 10 minutes more. Dear brothers, here we have to discuss the international treaties and the international laws. We have to know what is the definition for discrimination and racism. In the second article, they say no discrimination should be made based on race, religion, color, or religion. This is a part of civil laws and international laws, and everybody has the right to exercise social and economic life. Furthermore, there is a special convention by the UN in 1969 where the international law seeks to combat all forms of racial discrimination in the world, including economic and political discrimination. Human rights should be maintained and preserved, and in case there are violations in any countries, they should be limited and countered. All discrimination based on sex, religion, ethnicity, and race should be countered. Efforts should be intensified directly in order to counter all these forms of discrimination. In the early 1990s in South Africa, they had the apartheid system, and the UN condemned that apartheid system. In many of the conferences, they condemned these systems of apartheid. In the UN Charter, there is a clear banning of racial discrimination. They have been clear on that in all of the international events and the resolutions made by the UN. They say that people should not be discriminated against based on their religion, ethnicity, and color. And there should be no discrimination based on the economy, religion, or other basis. And there was a conference in the Czech Republic, and they discussed discrimination, racial discrimination. There, many decisions made by the UN focus a lot on being against racial discrimination. They condemn that, and they seek to intensify efforts to combat racial discrimination. The UN condemns racial discrimination. The European Council took decisions in this regard against racial discrimination based on sex, color, religion, and other bases. And the AGAT Organization of the European Nations says that human rights should be respected, and all aggression and violations on that, foreigners who live in one country should be ended, and minority rights should be preserved and maintained, and these laws should be implemented. What happened? We heard a lot of that. I would like to discuss them, but I don't have a lot of time. You have 3 minutes. We will discuss this topic. Our institution each year produces reports. We receive some criticism by other institutions. we receive a lot of criticism. We take it into consideration. We respect the Paris Agreement, but with regard to Israel, what is being implemented against or applied on Israel? Why was the UN established? To achieve international peace and to protect human rights. And in order to establish all rights, they took this international system from the Ottoman state and they didn't apply it. Did they apply it? No, they did not. They say there are 3 permanent members who have the right to that. There are 5 members who have the right to vote in the UN Security Council. What the children that you prepared are fighting the world. Does the UN have any legitimacy now? No. The Turkish president said that the world is bigger than 5 countries. We have to mobilize ourselves under this statement. The Turkish president made that statement. Is there anybody who's applying that? No. Therefore, we say when you have the power, people would listen to you. There is a relationship between power and passing resolutions. If you are strong, you can pass your resolutions and decisions in international events and meetings. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, said those who see injustice should change them in their hands. If they can do it in their hands, they need to change it with using their words. If they cannot change it using their words, then they should change them by their heart, and this is the least they can do as believers. We, as part of the UN, do not have the ability to do that. This doesn't mean that we are not able to. Now we are not able. We can, even if we cannot change it with our words, at least we should hate that. We should condemn that in our hearts. Give me five minutes more. Give me more. It is very important. In 1930, the Islamic world convened in Jerusalem, and there was the Akbaran Association in order for Muslims to solve their problem. Shia and Sunnis met together, and there were representatives of more than 100 countries. And they said, if we do not have the Islamic Union, nothing will happen. Thousands of people met. Shia leaders performed their Friday prayer with the Sunnis, and in 1969 the Islamic Cooperation Organization was established, and it's been established for 50 years. And the 50th anniversary was celebrated. The OIC has done nothing. The UN would either fulfill its responsibility, and if the OIC is not able to pass that decision, it should withdraw, because OIC should be strengthened and enhanced. If you are not able to do that, you should withdraw as the OIC. This is very important. شكرا جزيلا لك.